Welcome to the Girl You Totally Got This podcast. I'm Courtney Martin.
And I'm Abigail Morris.
I'm so happy to be here with you again. And we are talking about really one of my favorite topics. I feel like I'm going to say this every podcast because
Yep.
they all excite me.
Mhm.
But the art of letting go is today's topic. And I think it probably impacts everyone at some point in their lives. But whether we're talking about letting go of a limiting belief, a relationship, a friendship, really it's anything.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I've said that nervous system regulation is the foundation for healing. And I think that letting go is the path to peace.
100%.
And it's
Mhm.
something that you hear people talk about, but then you also find yourself clinging to things and you're like, I don't know how to let go. How do I let go? Like,
Or you don't know to let go. You're
right.
clinging to it and you're not consciously aware that you're holding on to something too tight, and really
Right.
it's such a lack energy. And so one of the most important things I think is to become aware and acknowledge when you're in that energy.
Absolutely. And I love that that you put that together, that lack energy, because it's fear-based.
Mhm.
We cling to things because we are afraid of losing it, of X, Y, and Z, whatever we're afraid of. And honestly, when I think about it really, and when I look at my own experiences with letting go, the foundation of it all was rooted in my inability to love myself fully.
Isn't it funny how everything seems to come back to self?
Yeah, and love.
Yeah, self-love.
Yeah, self-love,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited to dive into this. I would love to start off with an intention for everybody
Okay.
and a little kind of grounding practice to get us all in the present moment, which is where we've got to be to let go. And again, to set that intention.
Let's do it.
All right, so go ahead and just let's close our eyes and take a deep inhale in through our nose and exhale loudly through our mouth and just let it go. And through that letting go, let's continue to focus on our breath. And let's set that intention. I give myself permission to release the things I'm holding on to. And let's just sit in that intention for a second and really ground into being okay with letting go.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful to get there.
Absolutely. And it truly is an art.
It is. Yeah.
Like to become good at art, we have to practice over and over and over again, and that's
Mhm.
the same with letting go. I mean, truly, nothing we talk about on this podcast is easy.
No. No.
If it were easy, we wouldn't need the daggone podcast.
No, absolutely. And I think that again, when I love when you say it's just our ability to human
Yeah,
and and letting go of something that doesn't serve us any longer,
right.
is something that it should be innate in us, and it is, but you have to learn the tools
Right.
in order to become aware and let go.
Well, and I really think that it's evolution. So in biology, we tell people evolution essentially is the survival of the fittest, but we don't mean like the most muscular and the ones that are going to outrun you. We really mean the ones that are the most adaptable to change.
Hmm.
And these things that we're learning to let go of, they served us at one point for something,
Hmm.
but they no longer do. And so to grow, we have to let go. We have to evolve the
Hmm.
way that we're thinking about things. And truthfully, when we are talking about the art of letting go, so much of it is rooted in our mindset, in our thoughts that then display outward in our actions.
Well, and I'm going to go back real quick to what you said about something that served us maybe in the past that no longer serves us. I believe that every person that comes into our lives serves a purpose,
Mhm.
whether it's inspiration, whether it's um, to teach us something. A lot of people who trigger us, really, it forces us to look in the mirror and say, why does this person trigger me? Is it
Yeah.
something that I don't like within me? Is it something that I need to change? There are lessons to be learned in every person that we come in contact with, that we develop a relationship with. And whenever it's hard or a toxic, even, I think that it forces us to look at it and say, what can I learn from this? What is the universe trying to tell me? What's God trying to teach me here? And I think that it's not, the art of letting go is not throwing anything away, is not throwing anyone away, and it's not meant for us to be thrown away. It's truly about learning our purpose and another form of self-love.
Absolutely. We cling to things and people because we're afraid. And when we're triggered or when we see these cycles playing out and we're like, how why can't I let this go? What am I doing? It's all fear-based.
Mhm.
It's a lack of worthiness, a self-love. And again, those stories just aren't true.
Right.
And for some of us, when I look at my cycles that I've been through, I didn't know a time. I can't remember a time in my life where I didn't carry immense shame.
Mm.
So I had no foundation to work off of self-love, of what that really meant. And so these cycles were repeating because I didn't even know that they were rooted in that shame and that unworthiness until it played out much later in life and damn near killed me.
Well, it didn't, and we're so glad that you're still with us. And
Absolutely. Thank you.
but it was because you were holding on too tightly,
Yeah.
but you didn't
Yes.
realize it at the time.
No, I mean, so for me, a lot of my shame, again, I've had it so long, I don't even remember not having it. So I had no foundation to build off of. But for me, the cycle, the clinging was with relationships with men because there was nothing more than I wanted than to be loved by a man. But I felt like I was unlovable. So any relationship that I got in, I was just grateful to be in it. It didn't matter who it was with. And the truth is, and this is like hands down, no lie, every single relationship that I've gotten into, before I got into it, I knew the person was not the one for me. But I was so desperate and afraid of being alone and being unlovable. I clung to that relationship with white knuckle,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
no matter what, I just tried to show them and show like, can't you see me? Can't you see me? I'm worthy, I'm worthy. And they were never going to be able to see. They were never going to be able to see that because they were a mirror. They were
Yeah.
a reflection for me.
Mhm.
But that clinging, again, was rooted in this story that I was unlovable, right? And that story not only panned out in my relationships and that clinging to those, but it was everywhere else too. I was trying to prove myself in my career,
Mhm.
in to my parents, to my siblings, to these partners. Like my whole life was designed, like I'd created it to try to prove my worth.
Yeah, and you didn't have to, and that was your own perception of
Right.
self.
Absolutely. I am inherently worthy.
Mhm.
We all are. We're all souls, human beings. And because of that divine spark within us, we're inherently just love.
Yeah.
And we forget that.
When you're holding on to something, you can feel it. You felt it. You
Yep.
said you knew at the beginning that it wasn't right for you.
Right.
When, and it's not your head, it's your heart. You feel it when something's not right, when something doesn't feel right. Yet we
Hmm.
stay in these relationships. They don't serve us. They don't make us feel good. And
Right.
I think that, whether it's, a job or
Hmm.
even friendships. And I've had this in the past, and I've been on both sides. I've been on the side of wanting to let go of a friendship, and I've been on the other side where someone has let me go.
Yeah.
And neither one is fun and neither one feels good in the moment. But I will say coming out of it, it's a learning process and it's really out of growth. And let me explain why. When you're in a friendship and for whatever reason it doesn't feel right, whether it's draining, whether you walk away from the conversation or the time spent with this individual and you feel just icky, you feel like guilty, you feel like you've done something wrong, maybe it's a conversation that you partook in and it didn't leave you feeling great. You know that it's not serving you, but it's very hard to get out of it because you're afraid of making the person feel bad, you're afraid of what other people may think of you maybe.
Yeah.
um, all these go into to making that decision. And conversely, on the other side, when it's done to you, it's hurtful, and you don't understand at the time why someone is, throwing you away. Really, that's what it feels like.
Sure.
But here's what I've learned, that it's all part of ascending.
Yeah,
And when you let go of a person or a situation that doesn't make you feel the best you're really, it's like you're on an elevator and you're rising to the top. Sometimes you have to let people off on floors so you
absolutely.
can ascend to become the best version of yourself.
100%.
And this is what it feels like when you do that. You feel like you are aligned with your authentic self. And that is really what your intuition is trying to tell you when you are in friendships and relationships, that something you just go, this just doesn't feel right. It's because you're not aligned with self.
Absolutely. It's self-abandonment, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And that's exactly it. And we are resisting what is.
Yeah.
And that's what letting go is surrendering to what is. It doesn't mean that we're waving the white flag and just, we give up.
Hmm.
On the contrary, it's acceptance. I
Yeah.
accept this for what it is. And in this moment, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
Like, what is this trying to show me?
Right.
Why am I clinging?
Right.
But it's that letting go is truly surrendering to the moment, to trusting that God or the universe, whatever you consider your higher power, is trusting that you're held by that,
Yeah.
and that it may know better than you what's best for you.
Right. And when you are in a healthy relationship, friendship, you don't have to cling.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
that there's not that lack energy. And something else, whenever we're able to let go of a person, thing, relationship, friendship, we make space for something so much better. In my
Mm.
own personal example, there were moments and some friendships in the past where I didn't feel great. And I knew walking into the situation that I would leave feeling worse than I did when I came to the situation. That should have been a red flag. But once I was able to let go and and just surrender to this isn't working, I was able to create and invite so much stronger, better friendships that not only, serve me and my highest good, but I feel like inspire me, and they have helped me in my career. They've helped me. Um, yeah, I
Just
mean,
kidding.
number one, be you. Um,
Ditto.
but I think that it's important to note that when w- we let go of people who don't serve us in our personal lives, it affects everything, and it contributes to your career and your success, because you are no longer having that negative energy surround you, and it opens you up to more opportunity, and you come from a place of love and really this abundance energy.
Absolutely. Well, and I love the tie with energy. So essentially, the way that I view it is when we are resisting, we're holding on too tightly. It takes a lot of energy to cling and hold
Yes.
on,
Yeah.
for dear life.
Hmm.
And so we have to, that's draining us. It's draining of us of our life force.
Yes.
And that life force cannot be spent on something better.
Right.
And so we have to trust and surrender so that we can let that go. And again, to your point, it opens up space for new things to come in that are in alignment with you.
Right, because what happens when you feel this lack of energy and you become tired
Right.
and drained. And I remember there was a time in my life where I wasn't aligned, and I had bouts of insomnia.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't
Absolutely.
sleeping, and it was like this anxious energy, I guess you could call it anxiety, and I just wasn't sleeping, and I didn't know what it was.
You can't even have the creative inspiration.
I was just about to
Yeah.
say, because you can't. You're not physically capable.
No, you don't. Like inspiration comes from space.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's where it comes. And if you don't have the space, you can't be inspired.
Yeah.
And what I found is when you set the intention to let go of those things, actually, that's what started my healing journey, was setting the intention a few years ago of letting go. This was the exact intention. I let go of the things that no longer serve me so I can become my highest self because she's a badass bitch and I deserve to know her. That was the intention that I set over 3 years ago, or yeah, maybe almost even four. And interestingly enough, the what had to happen for me to be able to let go of all those things is things had to get a lot more uncomfortable for me first. And it was funny because I set that intention the first year, and at the end of that year, my life was 100 times worse.
Oh, I
And
thought you
so
were about to say better.
no, 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 it was 100 times worse. And so literally that following January, I said, "Okay, well that didn't work. We're gonna try that one more time." And I set the same intention. I want to rid myself of the things that no longer serve me so I can become the highest version of myself because she's a badass bitch and I deserve to know her. And literally within 4 days, I hit my rock bottom. And here we are.
Mhm,
And the things that I needed to let go to, the clinging of those relationships, the clinging to this identity of who I thought I was,
mhm,
it catapulted me into this experience where I just started letting go of everything. I let go of jobs, people, relationships, ideas, homes, like everything. And it was in that mass purge
mhm,
that I became in alignment with my purpose. And now I don't have fear of letting things go. I have a fear of not living in my purpose.
mhm.
And I guess I don't even want to say that a fear because the purpose is to let go, but like when I think about fear, I think about going back to the person that I was,
Yeah, yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, if it's not in alignment, get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Yeah, and I think that you did such an amazing job of just all of your self-healing and all the work that you've done. I mean, is just incredible, and you're just a fabulous teacher, and I love hearing all of the knowledge that you
Well,
share with
thank
us
you.
from experience and just the knowledge you have. But, you know, you probably feel, as do I, and our separate journeys of letting go, a boost of self-confidence because when you
Yeah.
are clinging onto something, you know that it's not right for you,
Right.
and we don't have we're
No,
insecure.
we're desperate.
Yeah, and it's those out of that insecurity where you just feel so bad about yourself, and
Yep.
you carry around like this heaviness. I do want to talk about what steps to take
Absolutely.
to to surrender and to be able to let go. And the first thing is setting boundaries. And now this is kind of hard, and I don't mean like physical boundaries. I mean invisible boundaries to
Sure.
protect your emotions and your energy.
Yeah.
So, for example, there are people we all have, what friends or acquaintances, even family members where you need to set boundaries. So that those people don't have to know that you're setting a boundary.
Sure. Absolutely.
What does it look like? It looks like this. When you know that there is a particular situation where you're going to be triggered, or you're going to walk away upset, or you're going to walk away feeling worse than before, you don't put yourself in that situation. You do a better job of discriminating where to go, who to spend your time with, and in what situations to place yourself. Also, you are not responsible for people's feelings. And this
Absolutely
may
not.
sound super insensitive, and I don't mean it to go out and hurt everyone's feelings. I mean, be careful of someone's energy that you're absorbing,
Oh my gosh. Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And this again takes practice. This is why we
Right.
call it art. But someone's low vibes are not your low vibes. And this is something that I continuously work on because you're constantly around all different types of people that you have to be careful what you absorb, what you are allowing in,
Absolutely.
and that is a boundary.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, this whole thing is all about self-love.
Yeah.
Self-love in the most non-egoic way. And boundaries are exactly that. I am the most important person in my universe
Yeah.
because it's me. It's me. And I have to protect myself at all cost.
Mhm.
And I can do that with love. That's truly what self-love is. It's taking care of my needs above everyone else's.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean I put my kid last, because again, as I've mentioned before, when I put myself first, when I set those boundaries for myself and I nurture myself the way I need to, my daughter gets everything she needs
Yep.
and more
Mhm.
because that is, again, the natural order.
Right.
you know? And setting those boundaries helps you to get clear on what is meant for you and what's not, you know? Like that the first question to letting go is like, what am I even holding on to in the first place? You know,
Yeah.
what is making me feel negative, feel bad about myself? What are these attachments that I have?
Well, and the first thing that should dawn on you is if I'm having to hold on to something, it's not right for you.
Yeah. Well, and like what stories do we have that are hurting us, you know?
Mhm.
What identities do we like? I used to just in my head, I was like, well, I'm just a party girl. Like that was just a story that I just carried with me forever because I mean, I spent so much of my life partying. And the truth is, I am a party girl, but it doesn't mean I have to do drugs to do
Yeah.
that. I mean, I'm really a dancer. I'm a dancing girl. And so maybe the party girl it's shifted like I can boogie down,
Yeah.
all night long dancing. But it doesn't mean it has to come with X, Y, and Z, you know?
Mhm.
And I don't have to always act a certain way and try to be super caring and friendly and loving to everybody that I meet. Like that shit's exhausting.
Yeah,
I got
and
to give
it's
that
not
to myself.
authentic.
Absolutely. I got to nurture myself first.
Mhm.
So it's like, what are these attachments? And why am I holding on to it? What is it giving me?
Well, and that kind of alludes to, which could be a totally separate podcast. I'm opening a can of worms here, but the people pleasing
Yeah.
is the opposite of self-love. We have to be careful when you become disaligned with your authentic self. A lot of times those people end up exhausted, frustrated, and you can hold resentment when you try and be everything to everyone. You can't be, and
Right.
it never ends up in your favor.
Right.
So, I think that, if you identify as a people pleaser, this is your sign to let go.
Yeah.
Get back in tune with yourself and go, why? Why do I have this need?
Right. I love that you said, to start why? Because the truth is, this process of letting go, it's like you identify it first.
Mhm.
What is it? Why am I resistant? You got to get curious.
Yeah.
That's the next piece. And the truth is, y'all, when you start getting curious about who you are and how you became the way you became, you open up this massive whole journey
Mhm.
of like my sister calls it the archaeology of the soul
Oh, that's
because
beautiful.
yeah, because you dig deep and
Mhm.
like you get to see where did this narrative of shame where did that narrative of shame come from and why for me was it tied to men, I go back and once you see the root of something, you can let it go.
Yeah.
Literally, like we always ask ourselves, why can't I do this? Why can't I do it? Because you don't know anything about it. You don't know where it came from, why you do it, what
Mhm.
caused it.
Mhm.
So if you don't know any of that, how can you let it go?
Yeah. No, you can't. And a lot of times we fear what we don't understand and what we don't know. So
Absolutely.
I think that really when we get to the root and the origins of our limiting beliefs and everything that doesn't serve us, we really go, "Oh, that's not that big of a deal. Why
Right.
am I holding on to
Yeah.
it? It shouldn't have this much power over me."
Well, and I think to that point, because this is vital, when you get to the root of why you do something or why, this, whatever it is, the why, when you get there and you realize that maybe you picked up something from somebody else that wasn't yours, you can't blame them. You have to take the responsibility on yourself to forgive them and to forgive yourself
Mhm.
because we are all doing the best we can in any moment.
Sure.
And when we don't know what we don't know,
Yeah.
you know? And so the key to letting go is to see it, see the root, and then to forgive it and to love yourself and love that person. And this can take a while.
Yeah.
This is not easy, guys.
Well, and I want everyone to just observe the people in your lives that maybe you've identified as you know not serving you in one other way, or whoever you want to let go of, or who you have let go of. Come from a place of love and gratitude that they served a certain purpose at a certain time. They
Yes.
elevated you, they stimulated some kind of self development and growth, or they acted as a mirror, inspiration, motivation, but maybe by serving as a trigger.
Right.
Every single person, I just I want to be very clear that this is something that I've had to realize that no, we don't meet people by accident. There are no mistakes.
Yeah.
And if you just look at every person, whether you enjoy their company or not, as either a test from the universe or an opportunity to grow.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you brought that up because it doesn't matter if you are religious, if you believe in God, or if you're spiritual and you believe in that aspect. It doesn't matter what it is. If you are spiritual or religious, you believe that everything happens
Yeah.
in divine plan, like it's God's plan.
Yeah.
And so when you see that, then you have to trust that everything that happened was for a higher purpose.
Yeah.
And because we can get stuck there. I can get stuck if I'm sitting there, sometimes and I'm thinking, I'm like, why did I have to do this? Why did I have to do this? Well, because there was a bigger plan at
Mhm.
play. And it maybe took 41 years for that plan to unravel in a
Mhm.
way in which I feel grateful for it and can
Mhm.
see it. But all of the suffering and the clinging and, all of that pain I needed
Mhm.
to get me here. And where
Mhm.
I am today, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I might not have a partner. I might not have this massive career yet. I might not be rich. I might live in the hood. You never know. I mean, I do actually, but but let me tell you, I love that house. It's my grandparents' house. They built that.
Mhm.
It was the place in which I started my new life.
Yeah.
You
It's a
know,
special
it's
place.
a special place. Just
Mhm.
like the home that I sold to get here was the
And
home,
it had a
it
special
had
place
its
too.
place too.
Yeah.
Like everything has its rightful
Yep.
place when you look at it that way. And that makes, for me, that makes letting go so much easier.
Yes, and you become so empowered when you're able to identify the timeline and when it is time to let it go.
Right. Absolutely. And it's like there's no more clinging.
Yeah.
Clinging is suffering.
Yeah.
And again, letting go is peace.
Yeah.
And I have learned that 38 years of clinging, 38 years of suffering. And the healing, there was still a lot of suffering that was happening through these last few years of healing, but now it's like I get it. I get it and I don't have to fight it anymore.
Yeah.
And that gives me so much more space
Yeah.
to create a new life that
Mhm.
is in alignment, that I'm happy with, that I love. Create relationships that I'm happy with, that I love. Do this that I love,
Yeah.
And to the point of I needed all of that to be able to do this today.
Yeah.
I couldn't have fully understood what all that meant had I not experienced it,
Right.
and grown through it. And I'm grateful for that. When I let go, I don't have to bring the past with me. I've been carrying the burdens of my past my entire life to the point where my past was driving my future, my present. So I was unable to live in my authentic alignment because I was carrying the burdens of the past with me and the fear of the future with me. So
Yeah.
I was like clinging to these two alternate aspects that no, they don't exist,
Yeah.
and so it was driving my present. But now I get to live in the present, which means I don't have to control anything. I can live in the present, do what I know I need to do in this moment, and I don't have to worry about anything else.
That's such a great place to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to worry about the future because the truth is
It doesn't
it
exist.
doesn't exist. And everything, my life has proven to me that I've made it through everything. So what do I have to be afraid of?
When we talk about the art of letting go, it's supposed to be empowering and liberating, and it's supposed to really just elevate you. And
Absolutely.
you're a testament to that. I'm a testament to that.
Yeah.
I encourage you to just dig deep and ask yourself, why am I holding on to X, and what am I afraid of? What's going to happen? Do I have evidence of this happening? A lot of times there is no
Right.
evidence,
Absolutely.
and it's all up here, and it's a figment of our imagination. I want everyone to come from a place of self-love and just love in general for mankind. We are the most important things in our worlds and in our
Right.
universes, and that's the only thing that matters. And if there is something that's anchoring us down and weighing us down, we are not able to be our higher self, to be the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's not fair. We're not being fair to ourselves.
No, I mean, yeah, we deserve to let go.
Yeah.
We deserve every single one of us deserves to let go. So I encourage you to really ask yourself, what am I clinging to? What am I holding on to?
Yeah.
And to that point, we have a little worksheet that we're going to give to you guys. If you go to our Facebook page,
Mhm.
again, our Facebook page is Golden Mindset.
Mhm.
We've got a free download for you guys. It's a little journal prompt to help you identify what you're clinging to and what you can let go of.
Yeah, and once you go through this process, it feels easier
Oh, yeah.
as it just takes practice, but, it's kind of like a spring clean.
Absolutely. It's art. You
Yeah.
you know, when you really start to look at your life as art and letting go as art, it's not, again, guys, this is something you have to practice every single day.
Mhm.
You have to practice self-love
Mhm.
every single day. You have to practice detachment every single day, forgiveness,
Yeah.
all of these things. But eventually you'll get better at it. So don't get
Yeah.
disheartened when you're like, "Holy shit, this is hard."
And think about all of the things that you want for yourself in your
Yeah.
life, and all of the space that will open up for you, and all of the things, that you have to look forward to,
Yeah.
that you don't yet have or you don't yet feel, the people in your lives, the relationships and friendships that you don't yet have, that are making their way to you once you release
Right.
what's weighing you down.
The life that you want is on the other side of letting go.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Abigail Morris, and thank you for tuning in. We can't thank our viewers and listeners enough.
Yeah,
We hope
thank
that
you.
we're providing you with inspiration and education, and we'd love to hear from you. So reach out to us on our Facebook page, Golden Mindset. I'm Courtney Martin Mindset. Abigail is our Golden Shadows, and we will talk to you next time.
Love you guys.
Bye, guys.